my friends, it's Sheree. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to do a flip through of this sewing pattern journal. The last couple of days, if you saw my videos, you will have seen me working on the cover. And then during this week, I have behind the scenes went ahead and finished it. So yeah, I've been working on it this whole week, and here is the cover. So it came out really cute, and it was a lot of fun to do a different orientation as far as the landscape version and be able to keep this pattern in its original orientation like this, sideways, as far as everything upright instead of doing it this way. So I really was glad that I decided to do that. And then so let me show you the cover. I've got a little trim here, and I sewed with my favorite stitch of black thread around the outer border here. You can see the metal coils. I've got a black ribbon tie closure. I'll show you the side view real quick here. Let me see, I've got a little charm on here. Let me see if I can keep it from, let me see if I can keep myself from pulling it off. But yeah, there's a little key tag there. And you can see the pom-pom trim and some other red trims there. So lots of pages. And here's the top. I've got a few paper clips and things clipped in. And our tassel is removable. It's on a bulb pin hanging on the wire coils. And we've got lots of little wood beads here. They're not tiny, but they're not huge because I didn't want to overpower this journal because it's shorter on this side. I didn't want to overpower it with a bunch of huge beads, so I have this nice little beaded a lot of wood beads, and there's some little hearts on there, and then at the bottom of each or three of the strands I have a little fruit: cherry, apple, and pineapple. There, the little metal charms. So, and it is removable. And here's the back, same type of deal. This is the back of this pattern, sewn around with some trim right there. So let's get started with a flip through. When I open it up, it's wide because of the landscape orientation, so I'm going to move it over so I can open it up all the way, and hopefully you can see 2 pages at a time here. So we did this little pocket together, but during the week after I added the pocket, I added this little girl from a sewing pattern. I showed you her before, where I kind of made her into like a little paper doll, as far as I cut her, put her on some cardstock backing and Mod Podged over her, so kind of made her into a sturdy little paper doll and put her there as a decoration. And then this is a sewing journaling card that we got lots of room to write here if you wanted to, and this is from a sewing book, and then we decorated this with a few pieces there, a few little ephemera pieces, and that is right there. This is, I have all the stats, all the info as far as pages and size in my eBay listing, which is linked below if you're interested in this journal. And I have a few other journals there too. So if you need a Mother's Day gift or anything like that coming up, birthday, whatever, something for yourself, check out the other journals too in my shop. So here on the back of the wallpaper, I put this sewing pattern instructions with some measuring tape, washi tape, and I have lots of pages in here that I left open for you to do what you want and for you to be able to write. So like here's some pretty blue lined paper. There's scrapbook paper here in here, of course. What would a journal of mine be without scrapbook paper? Because I love it. It's so pretty. It's like one of my weaknesses, so I can't resist. So this is an inside pocket, and I decorated with, these are a couple of fussy cuts that I cut out of it, scrapbook paper I had that I was using with this journal. And I thought, let me save that scrap because I really liked the flowers, and I knew I was going to fussy cut them out, and that's where they ended up. In here I have a few little pieces that you can write on, phone call, message, pad, little slips there, and a red library card that is decorated, so it's got lines, and it's lines on the back. You can write on it or use it however you wish. Little decoration and a little tab at the top, and if you notice the front cover of this journal, the ladies' dresses are all different colors. So that was quite fun to be able to work with pretty much any of the, those colors or any colors really in this journal, because there's so many colors in the cover. So I kind of try to coordinate pretty much with the cover. This is a recipe card. It has some herbs here, just real pretty. That's the fun of one of these metal quill bound journals. You can just kind of like bind almost anything in here. So I like to put lots of fun stuff in a journal like this, like bind it in. It's something to, really different and unique from any other journal. So on this is an index card, like a large index, say, card organizer with a tab. One of those cardstock. It's pretty thick pieces. And so I put this envelope on here. There's this is another fussy cut that I cut out of something, a book or something, some pretty cute little pretty birds there. And in here I have one about if you saw that video where I made sewing swatch or fabric swatch journaling cards or pieces. That's what this is. This is the fabric, one of the fabric swatches cards. So that is in there. Let me get it in here without bending anything the wrong way. There we go. And then behind it is a pocket too. So right here, behind the envelope is one of my bingo card journaling cards. So that is right there. And on this page I have some pom-pom trim. Lots of room to do what you wish here. Now recently, if you've been watching my Thrifty Thursdays, I brought home some, was it this past week? Some transfer, the little envelopes were cute, and then they had the transfer paper inside. So there's a couple pieces of that in here, and here's one of them. And then this is some nice resume paper. It has if you know resume paper, it has a nice texture and thickness to it, so you can do whatever you want there. This is some old ledger. It says 1948 right there, and it's written on. So I put some in here that was written on and some that wasn't written on. You'll see that in a minute. Here's some pretty stationery. Here is a grocery list note paper. That was in one of my recent Thrifty Thursdays. A large index card, and I've got some trim on that. And on the back side of this, I just have clipped one of my, what I call my serial number tags. And if you didn't see that video, that's where I was just using up. I had some numbers, ABC stickers and numbers and, alphabet. And I used those and just randomly, I didn't make words or any kind of sensical words or numbers or anything. I just used up my, and now I call them my serial number tags. Piece from, there's a few pages in here from sewing books and crochet books, things like that. So that's what that is. Some of this really cool yellow graph paper that I recently picked up at an estate sale. A time card. I picked up some of those last week at a thrift store, and there's one there. Some more of that transfer paper. And then this is a page. This page was made out of a magazine cover. And this is scrapbook paper, stationery that looks like it's been embroidered around, but that is just printed on there. Got a little bit of a texture right here, but it looks like embroidery. I thought that was really cool for this journal. This is the bingo game I brought and showed you in a Thrifty Thursday, I think a few weeks ago. And I put this a piece here that was, I guess it's the piece where you call out the numbers. The caller puts little things on here that keeps track of what numbers he's called. That's what this was from that game. There's no printables in here. It's all original pieces. So that's how I do my journals, and I just enjoy challenging myself in that way. This is some of the beautiful blank vintage ledger there. A lot of the paper in here is vintage. Like, I think that, this may be, I know the ledger is, that bingo game was vintage. Scrapbook paper. Some of the scrapbook papers I've purchased, and some of the scrapbook papers I get at thrift stores. This was an end paper in one of the books I used recently. Oh, it was from the sewing book, one of the sewing books, that's right. I thought it was just really pretty. It's neutral, but I just thought it was really pretty, and it's a thick paper. And that's, of course, a vintage, so those sewing books are vintage. There's some cute sewing pages in here with really cool, fun colors, like this right here. And this one has a bunny on it. I think there's another one, if I didn't already pass it. There's two with the bunny on it. And that yellow graph paper is a pretty index card, 4x6, so you can do what you want with that. This is a pocket made from wallpaper. It's sewn together. You see a little thumb notch right here. And then in here I put this little piece that I showed you that I brought home from a thrift store, and I thought it was so cute that I put it in here. So you can do what you want with this, but it's a little Elmer's Fun Craft idea book, so there's crafts in here, first of all, so you might want to check those out. Plus, I love the cover on here, so you might want to just make your staples in here. You can make a little journal out of this cover if you wanted, a little booklet or something. So I put that in there. Just brought that home like a couple weeks ago. Bingo card from that game I just brought home from the thrift store. Crochet book page. Here's another index card divider, a large one. On here I put pieces from the cover of a scrapbook pad that I cut out the little samples and made the pockets here. And in the pocket I have little pieces of ephemera, so here's a little envelope that you can do something with. And then in this one is a Twinchie. If you don't know what a Twinchie is, I have a video on that. I've made inchies and Twinchies, I believe, on video. And they're just 2x2 little pieces of ephemera, so nothing complicated. And then in this pocket, a couple of little sales tags that you can have fun with. Those are in there. Then you have, of course, the back to do whatever you want. This is some cool kind of like ledger paper that I got at the estate sale a couple weeks ago. And it has it's just different and unique. I've never seen anything like it exactly. But I turned it up here and make a little, so I didn't have to cut a scrap. A little pocket there with some trim. And in this pocket I have one of my time card journaling cards. So lots of fun pieces on there. And then on this playing card I have this scrap of fabric. Did I use this fabric in here? I used it on something. Maybe it was the last sewing journal. I'm not sure. But anyway, I had this piece of scrap fabric on here, and I wrapped it around this little card, and there's a little tiny, like baby, is that black or copper? I'm not sure, or brass or whatever. But anyway, I thought that was fun for a sewing journal to just have that little scrap there, and then you can use that for however you wish. Take it off of there, use the pin, use the card, just... That's what a lot of these things are for whoever gets the journal, to be able to have some crafty fun. Here's scrapbook paper. I used, it was kind of fun using some, I was challenging myself. I have some, like 3 scrapbook paper pads out right now. And I'm challenging myself to use, try to use some of them up. So this was one of them, and it had, if you see here, this little design, it was one of those big pieces of scrapbook paper with, a design on it. Sometimes you don't know what to do with this, so I cut the middle bottom piece out here, and I think it came out really pretty. It says Simple Pleasures right there. There's a couple of those in here. Sewing book paper, here, this is a page, and there's another, I put one in the last one, and I put one here as a tab. It's a sewing kit. You can see the thread and where the needle, this little foil piece held the needles in. Of course, that's vintage. But there is a needle in here. I didn't take it out because it's pretty covered. If you wanted to take it out, dig it out, you could, but be careful, don't poke yourself. But it's up under this foil, so I didn't want to tear the foil either. And I think the little pointy piece is under this gray thread right here. So it's all covered up. I felt like it was okay to leave it in there, but if somebody wants to take it out, they're welcome to do that. Here is a postcard on this. This is this another piece of, I think this is a resume. I just kind of cut that paper 8.5 by 11.5, and it made 2 pages for the journal. But it's a pretty ballerina postcard. Oh, it's not a postcard. It's just a little picture. I thought it was a postcard. I didn't mean to lie, but it has the description back here. You can make it into a postcard if you wanted to. Gosh, I really didn't. I thought it was a postcard. Okay, anyway, next page, some note paper that I had found recently at the thrift store. Wow, we're out of. It's like a little grocery list that you check off what you need. Isn't that cool? I thought that was so cool. Like, we would never use that now, right? That's why I was at the thrift store. Sewing book paper page. This is that paper that I showed you 2 or 3 weeks ago. That is shelf paper. I decided, I have it sitting here still. I haven't put it away yet in a nice neat pile, but I was like, I'm going to use a piece of this, and I'm going to figure out how to use a piece of this. And, of course you can make it into a page, but I kind of took it, and here's this side. Be great to do anything on here. If you had some stickers, they would probably stick on here. It's kind of like, almost like a dry erase board. You could write on here with some dry erase markers, or you could just put writing spots on it, glue something on it. But here I just turned it over, had a nice kind of long piece, and made a pocket, inside pocket. And in here I have a couple things. A little sewing pattern journal card. These lovely ladies. There's zigzag stitching there, so that is in there. And index card. And I wanted to point out, you got lots of writing room here, a little decoration there, a little it's actually a washi sticker. And then this little pink background here is a clothing tag. So that is actually from a piece of clothing that I was getting rid of, and I was like, I've remembered I don't do this every time or all the time. I think I only did it this one time. I thought about it, and I removed the clothing tag, so I decided to spread it out. It's like the washing instructions and whatever is on there, but I thought it made a nice background, and I put this little trim over it. So I ended up making a little tab or topper here, and ended up being a nice little decoration there. So, and I thought it went, I was trying to use sewing fabric type things. So, and then also I have this little tiny, skinny, narrow notepad here. So, just some fun little papers. And I just always say when I show you these, that you can take them apart. There's just 2 staples here, or you could write in here. These are coffee dyed scrapbook papers here, these first couple. It would be fun just to kind of like write a little story in here. Right there, you could write here with like dark marker pen and keep on writing and write your story through all the pages or something. Whatever you want to remember there, a little storybook, a cute little storybook. Scrapbook paper here. This is one of those bigger scrapbook papers that 12 by 12, but it had like this color all on top, and it had this pattern around it, and then it just had this border, kind of like these flowers were just on the bottom, so I just cut a strip there to make into a page. Some of that nice vintage ledger, sewing book page, a recipe, lemon meringue cake, and lemon supreme pound cake. Ooh, that sounds good. I love lemony cakes and things like that. Transfer paper. This is a little recipe card that I thought was cool. It just says casseroles right here, but all of this space to do something with, front and back. Scrapbook paper here, and on the back is a belly band made from a scrap of that wallpaper that I made that pocket out that I showed you earlier. And you can decorate this. I didn't decorate it, but you can. It's a nice neutral background, and it's not really neat looking, even though it's neutral. It's got a nice little kind of a variegated pattern and texture to it, so that would be fun to do something with, or just leave it and look and admire the pretty texture. Scrappy card here, a file folder for you to do something with, and another little, I decorated 2 of these just for this journal, index cards with a little washi flower here. And this is 2 pieces of fabric that's sewn. The 3 cards that I showed you, the 2 index cards and the library card, whatever I put on there, I sewed through it. And anyway, this is a little Coates and Clark. It's I don't know where I got it. I don't know if I printed it out and cut it out, or if I cut, I think that must have been what I did. It must be something I printed out and cut out, but it looks just like the top of a thread spool, and so I think that's where I got it. Just printed it out somewhere and cut it out, but I don't think I copied like an enlarged one of my own thread bobbin toppers, but yeah, I think I must have just found it somewhere, like on Pinterest or something, and printed it out. And I have some in my stash, my sewing stuff stash, my sewing notion stash. So here's one of the transfer envelopes. I thought this one was super cute. They're all cute. But in here I have the little booklet. This is the last one that I had. I only had 2 of these that I brought home from the thrift store. The little cross-stitch instruction booklet. And it was just, you know, the card, like just a card with the instructions that used to be in, what I think I figured out is it used to be inside of a kit. But when I found it at the thrift store, it was just a little cards. So I had made this on video into a little booklet. So I only had 2 of them, so this is the second and last one. But it has all these little fun pages in here. Even a little flip out. It's bound with a 3 pamphlet stitch. So lots of fun things in there. And that is in that sewing, this little transfer envelope. And it was all glued shut, this one here. So I decided to put it in the journal like this, you know, bind it in, and then I just slid it open at the side here so that it could be a little top pocket, so you can put whatever you want in there. This is just some pretty blue paper. I don't know if it's resume paper or what, but I just thought it was a pretty shade, so I put it in here. That written on old of 1948, or at least that's the date that's written on there. I'm not sure how, you know, it could be older than that. Stationery. This is some like onion skin type typing paper, stationery, and that really cool ledger that I never saw before, but I have some now from the estate sale. This little pocket I had in my stash, and I decided to I was going to glue it down somewhere, and I couldn't find a place for it, so I just bound it in. And the really cool thing is I decided to bind it in because I was having trouble gluing it down because it's an old postcard here that I made this pocket on. I was like, why did I do that? Because I really like, even though it's plain, kind of plain, I really just like the old postcard here. So I thought, let me put it in as a little, you know, bind it in, and then you can still see the postcard. Somebody could write on there. And then you also have a little pocket here, and in the pocket I have a little journaling card, I guess you could say, made out of this was a sticker that I got in a Your Creative Studio box, I believe, and it's backed on coffee dyed file folder, you know, cardstock. And so that is right there. This is the other side of that end page from the sewing book, and then on the back I have clipped one of my book page tags. This is a blue, you know, index card divider. Oh, here, let me show you this. Let me turn this page first. This is a little recipe card here. And then back to the index card divider. We've got pom-pom trim there, and this piece of a calendar. I've had this calendar ever since I brought it home from the thrift store a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I keep not using it. So I pulled one off and I put it like right in front of me so I would remember, like, use this in here. So anyway, I hinged a piece right here. This is some of the wallpaper. It's a scrap from the wallpaper that I used in here, the first page, that pretty like floral wallpaper. And then I hinged it on and made a little flip up there. So that's what I did in this one. I'll be using those in journals, but in different ways. But this one I made a little flip. You got this open space for the back here too. Our other little pocket on the back cover. And in here I put 2 pretty journaling cards, like floral, you know. And this little card that I made into a spool, I put some of the yellow measuring tape, washi tape on there. And you can just peel that off if you've never seen this before, if you've never gotten any in a journal or Happy Mail or anything. Just peel it off and add a little glue, and then you can put it where you want it. Not too much glue, like art glitter glue or some permanent glue stick will do the trick. and then it'll be plenty sticky for you to do whatever you want. If you get this journal, the best way to close it is don't go like this when you're at the end. Flip the pages back over like this, and then it'll be all, you know, copacetic. Everything will work for you. If you close it the other way, it kind of gets jammed up, just because of the way the coils are, you know, the coils are bound. So I'm going to tie this, and I will show you the goodies I have together so far. I've got another journal in progress that I'm going to show you. I'll show you tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Stay tuned for that. It's something that I've never done before with a little golden book. So it's a little cute little golden book. A really cool one that I've never made a journal out of. Of course, I made journals out of lots of little golden books, but this one I don't remember ever using before. Any other, you know, it's just a different, really cute cover too. But I'm using it and kind of like, say, binding it or making the spine in a different way than I've never ever done before. It's been done before. I've never done it before. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. So stay tuned. I'll show you tomorrow. I'm sorry to keep you in suspense, but I kind of am still, I want to get it a little bit more together before I show you. But just in the goodie pack, I gathered up the, I'll go through this really quick here. Let's see, on the bottom I have scraps, paper, wallpaper, all that kind of stuff. You know, quite a few of those, some big pieces, some little pieces. And then I have all of the, whatever sewing instructions and sewing tissue I had here on my table that I was working with. I gathered that all up, and there that is for you to do things with, craft with. I also had these two pieces here from the envelopes. This is the top of an envelope with the flap. It's not this pattern though. This is the one where I got the little baby that's on the front cover. You can see a bonnet right there at the top. That's what this is from. This 9219 is from this you know, envelope here. Oh, this envelope here. The number is also right here, 9219. So you can see it's the same number. So this is from this envelope, and I was trying to put it in there, but I just couldn't find a spot for it, so I put it in here. So you can make a little collage or whatever you want out of that. You can make a new envelope, add it to an envelope, whatever. And then I have two blank Rolodex cards. I think of her name. She's doing a Rolodex 100-day project. If you look at her channel, and if I think of it before this video is over, I will tell you. It's the lady that does the all of the collaging every year, and she has books, and she's done, you know, page by page collage, and she gives you prompts and everything. You know what I'm talking about. And then I put some paper punches in this little coin envelope, which I'll show you in a second, but I couldn't fit these in there, so I mean, these are some little flower, you know, little flower, kind of like, they look like retro flowers to me. They're from book pages, vintage book pages, Dr. Seuss book. And then some of my sewn together strips here, I always put at least 3 of those in the journal. You can cut those up and make tabs, put them alongside of a page, whatever you want to do. And, oh, did I point out that I put a flower on here? Because I did an Instagram reel where I did a flip through of, you know, quick like 3-minute flip through of this journal. And after that video on Instagram, I put these on. So I've got a little crochet flower and 2 yo-yos there. I think I forgot to point that out. I've been putting something like that on each journal, so I wanted to make sure I put it on this one too. And this was a little scrap of that trim I used in here, so that is in here. This also I think I used this in here too, didn't I? Anyway, a little scrap of that ribbon, that was all I had left. That's all I had left of this ribbon. I was tempted to keep it, but I didn't. I'm surrendering it. It will stay in here, I promise. And one of the little, I had this out here to put in here too. This another little clothing tag. And you can use this I've used this as tabs before, and I thought, well, let somebody put it where they want it, you know. So there it is. You can use it on the top of a tag or journaling card or side or whatever too. You don't have to use it on a page, but there's that. Okay, and in the coin envelope, of course, you'll have the coin envelope to use. And then I won't show you everything because I put lots of stuff in here. Lots of little stuff, but I kind of just dump it all out here and you can kind of see what's in here. So tags, circle punches, butterflies, some scallops. And these are all paper punches that I've punched out. And so yeah, lots of little things to decorate things with. And the envelope. So, and if I think of anything else to put in there, I will add it, which I frequently do. So stay tuned, and I'll put this in a nice little paper bag or something too. So you'll have that to have fun with. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the making of, even though I didn't do the pages and all that on video, I hope you enjoyed the cover. Stay tuned tomorrow for that little golden book, and I'll see you then. Have a great day.